You're listening to Potty Mouth Radio, the home of movies, music, television, and comedy. We watch a thing. We watch a thing. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to We Watched a Thing with Billy and Dave. How are you, mate?
Very good. I kind of feel like we've barely spoken.
I know. It's been hectic. I just quick shout out to all of the listeners. I know that last week, of course, there was a post in the listener community about where has the one where we watched gone, and I commented back saying I'm so sorry. It's just been a busy time. We Watched a Thing, of course, I don't know if you noticed, has also been a little bit slack. We did actually record a fefew episodes, and then I forgot to upload it. But this is our first time recording properly in a good couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's just I had surgery, then you had COVID, but
COVID
you feeling all good now?
Not like you, with your just COVID. No, I think we're all back to fighting fit now, and I think this is probably going to be a bumper episode because we've got a lot of catching up to do on
heaps. Yeah, we're going to chat about so much
people
tonight.
Have been talking about for weeks, but you know.
Before we get to it, I want to give a shout out. Just talking about listeners, I had the most surreal experience last week. So you know, Dave, that I'm a hipster and I have started recollecting VHS tapes. So the other day, I was picking some up off Facebook Marketplace. What was it? There was Home Alone and Lake Placid and Blues Brothers. Picking it up off someone local on Marketplace. Everything's fine. Go there, pick it up. I'm asking the guy, for his bank details and stuff. As I'm talking, he's like, I recognize your voice. Do you have a podcast? Mate. Yes.
You did not.
Legit. He recognized from... I don't think my voice is that recognizable. So shout out to John, listener of the show, who is a media studies teacher, who likes to find, podcasts to try and get his students engaged, and is a fan of We Watched a Thing.
Are we on the curriculum?
Yeah. So that was the weirdest experience. I've never actually met a listener in real life. So
I've yet to be stopped in the street by a fan. That's next level stuff.
So if you're listening, John, thank you for the tapes. So let's get into it. What should we talk about first? I think that the movie we've both seen this week is Novocaine. Is that correct?
Correctamundo.
Let's get into it. Novocaine, known as Novocaine No Pain in some regions. I noticed that here in Australia when I went to book tickets. Yeah. It's a 2025 American action comedy film directed by Dan Burke and Robert Olson and written by Lars Jacobson. It stars Jack Quaid, Amber Midthunder, Ray Nicholson, Betty Gabriel, Matt Walsh, and Jacob Batalon. And what is it about, mate?
It is about a dude by the name of... I believe Nathan Cain.
Nathan Cain, yes.
Get it? Who has a congenital insensitivity to pain.
A real condition.
It is a real condition. I don't think they're portraying it completely accurately. I think there are a lot of liberties taken for the sake of this. I believe it's also in real life. It's usually in it goes hand in hand with a number of other conditions which are not included in this for dramatic purposes.
Right. Yeah.
However, he's a dude who can't feel pain, and so has all his life lived this weird sort of semi-sheltered existence where he has a job, he's out in the world, but for example, he only has liquid food because he's afraid if he chews food, he'll bite his tongue off without realizing it. It is a real condition, obviously, but I kind of feel like there's a fair amount of suspension of disbelief with this because he can touch things and he knows he's touching things. So where does the sense?
Yeah, so I was reading because I was like, surely this can't be real. This is how I know it's a real condition. So in the film, he says that most people don't live past 25 with this condition. It's actually much younger than that. Most don't make it out of childhood for this very reason. They will, and the number one cause of death is burns because they can't feel it burning, and it's just insane to me. So I guess the idea is that they can feel pressure, but they can't necessarily feel pain.
You can feel You can feel pressure because you're sensing that deeper down in the tissue.
Yes,
the surface is not. So you can cut yourself, and presumably people can bleed to death because they don't know.
100%.
You get that a little bit with leprosy, which is another danger
right.
where they need to be careful of every little like paper cut and nick because they don't realize that's happened and
Yeah,
then
okay.
and becomes infected.
I didn't
and so on.
realize that leprosy did the same thing, but yeah.
I know that from The Adventures of Thomas Covenant, the Unbeliever. There you go. Fiction gives us everything. But anyway, back to my meandering synopsis. So he's got this condition, but he's mildly obsessed, as anyone would be, with Amber Midthunder, who's has recently joined his bank.
Awesome in this film,
and in everything. I mean, she's just a delight. He's I didn't tell you, assistant manager at a bank. She's a teller, I think, and he's sort of mildly obsessed with her, but doesn't have the guts to talk to her or anything. And then a bank robbery happens, and kind of events ensue that force him into kind of overcome his phobias and burst into action and turn his affliction into a superpower where he can battle bad guys, essentially. And there's some twists and turns in the plot, which we might get to in a little bit down the track.
Yeah.
Let's face I don't think we're spoiling anything for anyone who's seen 4 or 5 movies in their life. I don't think anything in this movie is a surprise. However,
sadly for me, the twists and turns actually ruined the film, but I guess we'll get there.
It was unnecessary. I don't think it added anything really. And they were, it was so obvious that you're kind of just waiting for it to happen.
Yeah.
But I don't know that derailed from the fun of the film.
Yeah. So, because I did message you about half an hour into the film because I noticed that you had you'd seen it already, so I messaged about half an hour in, and I was like, "Oh wow, Jack Quaid being in 2 of the best movies of the year so far. That wasn't on my bingo card."
Companion, which I've now seen, which I enjoyed immensely.
Oh man, because I loved Companion, and the first half hour, 45 minutes of this, I adored. As we get deeper and deeper into the film and the action, and then, of course, the twists towards the end, it went from being a great film to a good film to an okay film.
Oh, I didn't derail quite that much for me, but I understand the trajectory.
Yeah, because the first half hour, 45 minutes, I actually really loved. I thought the chemistry between Jack Quaid and Amber Midthunder was fantastic.
It's really nice. And to that point, I think the twist, and let's rip the Band-Aid off because it is completely obvious from very early on that she is in on it and is, as it turns out, the sister of the head bad guy who's robbing the place, blah, blah, blah. So when they take her hostage, it's all fake. Adds nothing to the plot, not important. I think that did a disservice to the chemistry that had been built up between them early on because it is genuinely sweet. That she's confident, outgoing. It reminded me a little bit of Along Came Polly, I think it's called, where Ben Stiller's the germaphobe and Jen Aniston is the manic pixie dream girl who causes him to, and he ends up eating a chocolate bar off the street or something because it's that sort of a
100%
chemistry.
Yeah, I agree. It ruined it for me, and I think even the film by the end still isn't even quite clear on, was she actually playing him, or did she genuinely like him and she just happens to be in the robbery? Like, it was really unclear.
I was fairly certain the whole way through that she was there to play him, but the relationship was genuine. I don't think there was meant to be any doubt about that, and I didn't have any doubts about that part of it. However, I mean, she is. At the end, I think she's going to jail for like a year or so. She is going to jail for about 20 years. There is no way she's out. This is not Baby Driver. She is, I mean, yes, in this instance, she helped fight back, but it's been made very clear that she's been on countless jobs before where people have been killed. She is an accessory to multiple murders. I don't care how many fights she had in this one.
It is hard to say because the scene where there is the twist, she is genuinely upset with her brother, and she says, you promised that no one was going to get hurt. You didn't have to shoot him in the face.
Like last time.
Okay, yeah, because I wasn't clear. Is that just because she was working with these people and had formed a relationship, and usually she doesn't care if people get hurt? It was...
No, they've killed people all the previous times, and she said, well, that's the last one. I'll only do this next job if no one gets shot in the face.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, she obviously, after the previous robberies didn't come forward, didn't, you know, go to the cops or anything. The fact that she finally turned a corner because she had the hots for someone on this job,
Yeah.
that does not wipe the slate clean. She is going to jail for a long time.
I mean, honestly, as is Novocaine, like he kills a bunch of dudes in this.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, so the twist for me does retrospectively kind of ruin the first half of the film because, as I said, I thought those early sequences were great. I thought the character development of him in particular, like you say, where he's kind of struggling with, won't even eat solid foods, and then she convinces him to try pie, and he's like, oh my fucking God. The scene where they're on the date at the bar and, you know, his former bully is there, and you think that she's kind of, you know, flirting with him, and then, you know,
so good.
It's a fantastic scene, and it really shows her in such a good light, and the chemistry between them is great. I thought the way that it treated his illness was really good, because she's the one who says, oh, you're like a superhero, but to him, of course, it's this awful kind of affliction that he's struggling with, and I think it shows that, you know, whether it's, you know, heightened or, you know, falsified from real accounts, I think it shows it in quite a good way. So I really loved the first half. The best thing about the second half, of course, is the gore, because when you've got a character who can't feel pain, that's what you do. He's getting cut up. He's sticking his hands in deep fryers. He's like...
the bit that kind of floored me was the final fight at the end where his arm gets so fucked up.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And because it's very much farce, you know, because he's not a good fighter, he's not a trained fighter, he's not even trying to kill people.
He is winning through doing things that the other person doesn't expect because no human would do them.
Exactly.
Like, why would you expect someone to get the gun out of the deep fryer?
Deep fryer, yeah. And his hand is real cooked after that. Yeah. So, I mean, the best parts of that entire back half absolutely are the gore, and they are fun. Like, it is a fun movie, so that definitely works in its favor.
Yeah, I think Jack Quaid is, I mean, we all kind of like him in The Boys, but I think he's shown that he's more than kind of just that. There's been enough variety. I mean, obviously he's a complete arsehole in Companion.
Yeah, well, I saw a great review that said that between this and Companion, Jack Quaid has truly shown that he can play nice guys and quotation marks nice guys.
Yes.
And yeah, I think he's awesome in this role.
Yeah, no, but both the leads are, I mean, there's no one else really of note in any of the characters. I can't remember who plays the detective lady, but she's semi-prominent, but immediately forgettable because the two leads are really quite prominent, and they both do very, very, very good work. Jack Quaid's going to obviously, I think over the next few years, we're going to see him doing a lot. I just hope Amber Midthunder gets a lot as well. Yeah,
same. This is the first time I've seen her since Prey. Have you seen her in anything else apart from these two? Because she's
Legion.
Great. Oh, Legion, the TV series. Yeah, okay.
By far the best thing, film or television, ever to have any sort of connection to the X-Men. Sorry.
Well, you're saying that because, correct me if I'm wrong, is Aubrey Plaza in that as well?
Yeah, she's in that. It's an X-Men TV show. The main character is Davey Haller, who's Charles Xavier's son.
Yeah, right. Okay.
And it's Noah Hawley. That's his.
Yes. Okay.
If you haven't seen it, especially season 1 is some of the best TV ever made. It is a phenomenal show.
Yeah, nice. I mean, I would say I'll add it to the list, but I think we both know that my list is it does exist.
We're overdue for a required viewing.
Yes, actually,
it's literally the only way I get you to watch stuff is to force you with threat of legal action.
That's true, because I definitely, in fact, I just rewatched a show this week that I was like, fuck, this is due to put on required viewing for Dave, which I won't mention now. I'll save it for required viewing, but yeah, let's definitely get to that soon. Yeah,
we'll do that in the next couple of weeks, maybe as a bonus, because we do owe you people.
Yes, yeah,
more than one bonus.
Yeah,
you're due a happy ending.
Although we are going to record for a very long time tonight, and also in like 3 nights' time, we're going to catch up on all of the patron stuff. So
yeah, True Classics. We're doing yet another Shyamalan. I mean, we may be overdue for some stuff for the patrons, but by God, we're about to suffer for the next few months with those Shyamalanigans.
Tell me about it, because we're recording 2 next week, and so I'll just say I think they're his worst 2.
I mean, there's a lot of competition, but gee, I mean, and we just did Lady in the Water. Well, a couple of months ago.
I couldn't believe when you said the last one was December. Like, I know that we've been kind of distracted for a little bit. I didn't realize that it was that long. But
it surprised me as well, I must say.
All right, so how are you scoring Novocaine No Pain, as it's titled here in Australia, apparently?
Yeah, don't do that. It's either a 6.5 or a 7.
Yeah, okay.
I'm going to go a 7. I like the 2 leads enough for that.
Yeah. If I was rating it purely based on the first 45 minutes, I think I'd be an 8. But I think I'm also I'm landing on a 6.5 by the end of the film. I think. Fair. Yeah. And it's not a bad film. I'm glad I saw it. It's good fun.
If you want to go to the movies, there's, at least for the next week, there's not. It's probably as good as anything if it's still in theaters.
And then it's stacked. I went to the movies today to see a preview screening of a film, which we'll talk about next week, because I know you're very keen on it and haven't seen it yet. And before the film, they did a bit of a, what's coming in April and May. It is a seriously stacked couple of months, like way more than I realized.
It's quite weird, actually. When we did our most anticipated, one of us, and it's not you, did quite a little bit of research and reading up on what was coming up and what was confirmed for the year. And I had about 30-something films that I narrowed down to my 10. And there's stuff coming out in the next couple of months that wasn't in my I don't know.
Yeah.
People, they're suddenly like dropping release dates and they were keeping things under wraps.
Yeah.
There's stuff's coming out of the woodwork.
Yeah. Well, speaking of stuff coming out of the woodwork, why don't we move over to a movie that you saw this week that I didn't, that I believe you took the kids to? Why don't you tell us about a Minecraft movie? Do you want me to do the whole thing?
Sure.
All right. Minecraft movie is a 2025 American fantasy adventure comedy film based on the 2011 video game Minecraft. It was directed by Jared Hess and written by Chris Bowman, Hubble Palmer, Neil Widener, Gavin James, and Chris Coletta, because, of course, a film isn't a film without 6 writers. With a story by Alison Schroeder, Bowman and Palmer.
8 writers.
The film stars Jason Momoa. I didn't know that. Jack Black, Danielle Brooks, Emma Myers, and Sebastian Hansen. And I mean, what is this movie, Dave? Is it literally just Minecraft?
It's a couple of kids and a deadbeat ex-video game champion gets sucked into the Minecraft world where they
so it's Jumanji, basically.
It's Jumanji meets Playmobil meets Pixels meets other things, and is not as good as any of them. This was a slog. All the things that I hoped it wouldn't do, it did.
Can I ask, are you a Minecraft gamer? I can assume your kids are.
No.
They're not.
Well, I should say, not all. They're all familiar with it. Some, Aiden's still very much into it. As a very close second to Roblox as major obsession.
Roblox is, yeah.
I should say, I am in no way, shape, or form the target audience for this, and I would be very interested. Nick Haskins, if you're listening, I know Nick is a mad Minecrafter and
yes,
Twitch streams and does all of that.
Yeah, I was just going to say, yeah.
He is akin to about 6 of the cameos in this because he's a Minecraft streamer. I would be, and he was dead keen on this. This was one of his most anticipated for the year for that reason.
Wild.
So I'm very keen if Nick can, comment, DM me, whatever. I would love to know what he thought of this, because I know I missed a lot of the kind of in jokes and references. But I tell you, I have never been in a theater where the audience cheered so many times.
Right.
It was insane to me. Every time something, and you can tell when something is an in joke, a weird thing happens on screen that makes no sense. Every single time, we were in like the third row from the front. Behind us was about 200 people. It was like 100 of them all clapped and cheered and woohoo all at the same time.
Were you one of the oldest people in the cinema? Not like calling you old, but you know what I mean.
There were quite a few, at least sort of like 30-ish-year-olds, and certainly some older. The ones who were in their 40s and 50s were obviously there with kids.
Yeah.
But there were adults whooping and cheering.
Wow.
These were not children behind me cheering and screaming. And it was you had cameos from, I recognize Dan TDM. I'm just dropping that name so the millennials know I'm cool. He's a like a YouTube gaming streamer guy, but there were about 7 or 8 others I didn't know. The kids all mentioned afterwards. There were characters. There was one I had heard about one of the most famous and long time YouTube streamers died of cancer in the last couple of years or whatever. It was a big, the community were all distraught and whatever. And they had a nod to him, which I didn't recognize, but the kids, responded to. So I accept that this movie was not for me. This is more than I even thought, more than the Mario movie. This was a movie for the fans, and they obviously didn't care if people didn't get the references because it was replete with them.
Yeah.
However, I do think I'm qualified to comment on whether a movie is just objectively bad. Yeah. And I reckon this was objectively bad. The writing is terrible. Jack Black, I came into this going, please don't make Jack Black sing. That was the worst thing about the Mario movie. He was a shit song. He's just because he's Jack Black, you don't need to make him sing. Jumanji didn't make him sing.
Yeah. And Jumanji's the best thing he's done in years.
4 fucking times.
Are you kidding? 4 times is enough to class this as a musical. That's more times than most
songs. They're just excuses for him to sing for 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And you've got one of them where the characters are looking at each other going, oh, this is bad. That doesn't make it okay. The fact that the characters are also admitting it's bad does not justify having it in the movie when it doesn't need to be there. So, look, I struggled through this. I thought it's one of the worst things I've seen this year, but I think it will do well because I think there's enough Minecraft fans, and they all seem to love the shit out of it. Because of all if there's enough fan service nods and Easter eggs and enough people will overlook all the shortcomings of the actual filmmaking because there's enough there that they're enjoying.
Yeah.
Deadpool and Wolverine, prime example. There is enough there that is fan service bukkake. And as we know, even people who are avowedly qualified to judge good films from bad
had it in their top of the year list. Fucking wild.
Not for me. I can't hand on heart recommend it, but if you're a Minecraft fan, you're going to see it anyway and you'll probably fucking love it.
Well, see, I know I'm going to have to see it. Because my kids, you brought up Roblox, that's her new obsession, but she loves Minecraft. I well and truly, I'm aged out of Minecraft. Minecraft, when did the Wikipedia said it came out in 2011? I was not. It's a kid's game, right? I was not.
Well, see, that's the thing. I've got a lot of respect for Minecraft because it's the ultimate open sandbox.
It's like Lego, right?
Essentially, you can go in there and not play the game, not do anything except design and build stuff. And I've got an enormous amount of respect for the fact that that's what it does. And I've seen some astonishingly good things. You can see, there's people have seen, there's countless YouTube videos and websites where people they've made, the Hogwarts castle, they've made all sorts of things. Speaking of the world's biggest Minecraft fan, you can have an ice block. So the kids came. Ayla bowed out. She didn't want to go. She said the trailer looks crap, and she's 17. She doesn't care about Minecraft. But Leah and Aiden both wanted to go, and I knew Aiden would love it.
Yeah,
but Leah loved it.
Really? Okay.
Both came out and said that was awesome because they got all the references, and the references come so thick and fast that even if you're moderately discerning in terms of film, I reckon you're not even going to notice the shit parts of the film because it's just one thing after another.
So let me ask you this then. You're saying, so the film is not good, but at what the film wants to achieve, is the film a success?
Based on the reception of the audience that I had around me, yes.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. All right. So how are you personally scoring it? And
personally, it's a 3.
Okay, how do you think the kids would score it?
Out of 10, what would you give the Minecraft movie?
10 out of 10.
There you go.
10. Yeah, right. That's a solid.
Aiden Powell seal of approval. All right, I have your ice block. Oh, it's broken. There you go. Look. All right, off you go.
Nice. Okay. All right. I'm not looking forward to seeing it. Like I said, I know I'm going to have to. It's school holidays coming up.
I want to hear from you afterwards, but you'll suffer.
Okay. All right. Well, let's talk about a movie that I've seen that you haven't. Then I've got 3. Which one should I go to? Mickey 17, Black Bag, or Locked?
Get to Director Bong first.
All right. Mickey 17 is a 2025 science fiction black comedy film written, produced, and directed by Bong Joon-ho, based on the 2022 novel Mickey 7 by Edward Ashton. Stars Robert Pattinson, Naomi Ackie, Stephen Ewan, Toni Collette, and Mark Ruffalo. And do you know what it's about, Dave?
In the sense that it's a sci-fi where people sign up to do dangerous, presumably fatal missions, and
everything.
they just kind of 3D print a new version of you after you die, and something goes awry, and you get more than one R-Pats.
Boom. That's it.
That's a bad thing for the world.
Yeah. I'm not giving a synopsis then. That's pretty much nails it. So yeah, you're exactly right. He signs up. He's kind of in a bad situation on Earth. It's set in the future. I think it's 2050 or something of that nature. So not like the distant future at this stage, I must say. Yeah, he signs up to become an expendable, I think is what they are referred to. Where, yes,
Sly Stallone's in this then.
Where, yeah, they preserve your memories and everything. Like every day or every second day or something, you go in and they store all your memories on a big brick. And when you die, they just reprint you off. He goes to a new planet on part of a mission to basically create Earth 2 for this group of people led by politician Mark Ruffalo, who is a very, very, very thinly veiled Donald Trump stand-in. He's fantastic. He's hilarious. Toni Collette plays his wife. She's hilarious. I was not prepared for how funny this movie was. Bong Joon-ho has, Parasite's much the same. It's amazing at blending drama and comedy. Oh, yeah. This is a lot funnier than that. There's not a huge amount of drama in this movie. It's well and truly a sci-fi comedy film.
Wow.
Which I was not expecting. And no. I find it wild that he is still able to write stuff that is this funny when he's writing it in a different language. Because my understanding... Is he the only writer? He is the only writer on this film, written by Bong Joon-ho. And my understanding is still that he doesn't actually speak any English at all.
I don't think so.
So the fact that the humor translates as well as it does is wild, because it's a really funny movie, and it's funny both situationally but also just, one-off dialogue and stuff. Ruffalo is in particular is really funny in this film. Honestly, this is an Oscar-worthy turn from him, especially because he does play 2 quite very different roles. So basically what happens is that he gets... this is not a spoiler, happens in the first 10 minutes. And, you knew, obviously, there's 2 R-Patses. He gets stuck in an ice cavern. Everyone thinks that he's dead. And before he gets back home, they've already printed off a new one of him. I don't want to say too much other than that, because I don't want to give away spoilers. It's not my favorite Bong Joon-ho.
That's a pretty high fucking bar.
It is a really high bar. But it's one of the best sci-fi films I've seen in a long time. It really feels very classic sci-fi. Like it's really pulling on all those tropes. It's very, very heavy-handed in a lot of its allegories, as most traditional sci-fi films are. Like, there's no denying that not only is there Trump stand-in, a lot of this film is about the environment and the way we treat the environment and Aboriginal species and peoples. But it is so well written, so well directed, and the cinematography is next level. The opening shot, I saw it in IMAX with Topher, like on opening day, and the opening shot in IMAX was just extraordinary. So, yeah, I really don't want to say too much about the film, which is upsetting. Honestly, we're talking about it, 6 weeks after it came out. A lot of people who want to see it have seen it, but I don't want to spoil it for you, Dave, because I feel like you are going to really, really like this film.
I'm almost desperately looking forward to it. Really gratified to hear you say it's that fun. I was expecting Bong Joon-ho satire but not
Yes.
overt comedy. I thought this was going to be a slightly less French camp Fifth Element style sci-fi, where there's a lot of commentary about environment, etc. But the satire really comes through in the production values and things like that.
Yeah.
Little things like in the Fifth Element where they're still smoking, but the filter's like 90% of the cigarette. Just little things like that's where the satire comes in, rather than overt comedy. So now I'm even more keen to see it.
Yeah, because as I said, I would just call this a comedy film, a comedy sci-fi. There's very little drama in it. There's no horror. It's really, really straight sci-fi and comedy, and it is really, really funny. I was laughing almost the entire way through the film, and like I said, it's not just situational comedy. There's a lot of the dialogue is funny.
He's such an incredibly diverse filmmaker.
Oh man, is he ever? Yeah.
He's done sci-fi, but Snowpiercer has zero comedy other
Yes.
than Tilda Swinton's teeth.
Yep. He's done monster movies. He's done
Dark, depressing murder mysteries. I mean, there's literally, there's not really anything other than full-on straight horror. There's not really a genre that he hasn't tackled yet successfully.
Yeah. So I am an 8 out of 10 on Mickey 17. I think that you're possibly going to be even stronger than I am, and I definitely want to see it again. But yeah, so that's that. All right, I've seen 2 other films. Let's go to Black Bag, which is a 2025 American spy thriller film directed by Steven Soderbergh and written by David Koepp. It stars Cate Blanchett, Michael Fassbender, Marissa Abela, Tom Burke, Naomi Harris, Regé-Jean Page, and Pierce Brosnan.
What?
Yes, Pierce Brosnan, my friend. I went into this film expecting very little. It's been quite a while since I've really enjoyed a Soderbergh film. He's very hit and miss. It's wild to me that he's already released 2 this year. I actually also saw Presence earlier in the year, and that was getting better than his last couple of films, but still not fantastic.
He is one of the most hit and miss directors I can think.
100%.
He has hit the highest of highs. I mean, if you remember all the way back to like Sex, Lies, and Videotape and things.
Yeah.
He was the next big thing, but he has done some utter stinkers. And you applaud his creativity. He's the first guy that shot films on an iPhone and all these different things.
Yeah.
But some of them.
Yeah, and he does do some really creative stuff, like Presence, which I saw earlier. I don't know if you know the concept behind that.
Ghost one where you're the POV of the ghost?
Yeah, so the entire film is done in a series of long one takes. So every scene is just a single shot, single take, and it's all from the perspective of the ghost. There are some things I don't like. I applaud the creativity, but what it means is that every time there's a scene change, you just fade to black and then fade back up. There's no cuts in the film. It's just a series of long shots, and so it kind of kills the pace.
You sometimes get the sense, did he just have an idea and he's doing it for the sake of it, rather than having a story he wants to tell and then thinking of the best way to tell the story?
Exactly. So I'm happy to report, though, that Black Bag is a bit of a return to form. The screenplay by David Koepp is really strong.
He's fucking on a tear this year. So many films coming out that he's written.
Yeah, well, because he's back to Jurassic Park now as well.
He's the Jurassic Park. I think 3 of my top 10 most anticipated were all David Koepp things.
Yeah, right.
Plus the Soderbergh one. Plus there's a couple of others that weren't. I think the kind of all of the COVID delays. I think he just had a desk piled high with scripts that he just started doling out to directors.
Yeah. So it's a strong screenplay. The story itself is quite simple. It's a spy thriller. So Michael Fassbender and my favorite, Cate Blanchett, are husband and wife who are both spies. And he is tasked to investigate this internal issue. There's a mole basically in the organization, and he's tasked to investigate it. And there's a series of people, most of them friends of his, including his wife, who may be the culprit. And so the film
So
basically is him.
they know each other as it's not Mr. and Mrs. Smith. They know their spies.
They know each other as a spy, yes. And so that's where the phrase black bag comes from. Black bag is something that spies will say to other spies when they're not allowed to talk about it. You know, like if it's basically like, like the layman would say, fuck, what's the phrase I'm trying to think of?
I don't know, cone of silence.
I guess, yeah, or like, fuck, it involves the word business. What's the phrase I'm thinking of?
I have no idea what you're talking about right now.
Fucking hell. Anyway, so, if you say like, oh, where were you yesterday? And you'd respond, oh, it's in the black bag. Meaning like, it's above your pay grade. I'm not allowed to tell you. So need to know basis. That's the phrase I was thinking.
Where's business come in?
So that's the basic plot, and I'm not going to go too much further than that. It's a small group of actors. There's really only about 5 or 6 main characters, and there's a couple of, kind of peripheral characters that come in higher ranks and stuff. But primarily, it's just a lot of one-on-one scenes of him with these different people. There's a bunch of great dinner party scenes where he's playing these kind of mind games to try and get things out of them and turning them against each other. So the screenplay is really strong. It's shot really nicely. I'm not a spy thriller guy. Like I don't enjoy Bond. I don't like the Bourne movies. This is not an action movie. It's very much a trying to get information out of people movie. So I was quite strong on it. I'm a 7 out of 10, I reckon.
Okay. So it the premise made it feel very much Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Yeah, but it's
True Lies.
Yes,
we've seen it 1,000 times. So this is not that.
It's not that. Like I said, this isn't an action movie. They both are fully aware that the other person is a spy. She doesn't know
married?
that they're married. Yep, and they work for the same organization. And yes,
I believe that the organization would allow this.
so there are questions around. There's whole scenes where other people are asking him, like, how does that work? Like, how does this actually work? And so that's a big chunk of the movie too. Is like how
it's addressed.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. That hang a lampshade on it. So, 7 out of 10. I'd recommend it. I wouldn't rush out to see it at the cinemas, but once it drops on streaming, 100% I'd recommend checking it out.
Okay, will do.
All right. God, we've got so much to chat about. I still have one more movie that I've seen recently. Is there anything else you want to go over?
I will give a shout out because there's not enough love for this show, but season 3 of Wheel of Time has commenced. See, that is the reaction. Look,
See, I laugh because Topher, former co-host to the show, he watches Wheel of Time. He adores the books. Big Wheel of Time fan.
Yep.
And so he will not stop watching the show, even though he has said several times that it's really, really bad. And
it is not really bad. Topher is completely wrong. I love the books. It is my favorite fantasy series ever, over Lord of the Rings, over anything else. I love it. The show and the showrunner, Rafe Lee Judkins, has taken liberties, made a lot of changes. For me, I can see the reasons for all of them because it is one of the, I think it's in terms of page count, etc., it's the biggest fantasy series of all time. To make a faithful, for all of the book Nazis out there, adaptation, you would need like a 50 season. It would be longer than Supernatural. No one is making that show. This is a show that we can have. And I think if you can get on board with the changes, and some of them are significant, some of them are not. I've seen people online bitching about the slightest little things. Oh, they've done this scene before they did that scene. Who cares?
Yeah,
there are budgetary constraints. If you understand the nature of making a show, you can't visit 10 locations in one season because you can't afford the sets. So you rearrange the seasons so you can build one awesome set and not 5 shit sets. So I discount all of those complaints. There are some issues people have with some of the characters. They obviously aged them up so they're not teenagers, not just because it makes a better show for adults. I don't want to see 15-year-olds moping about, oh, I don't understand girls. Oh, if only I was. The books are literally thousands of scenes of these three boys, each saying the same lines about, oh, if only I could understand girls as well as the other two.
Yeah, yeah.
Age them up a few years, you don't have that shit. But off the back of that, one of the characters has a wife who gets killed very early on. He obviously didn't have a wife because he was a teenager. People have issues with that. I mean, fuck off. I don't care about that stuff. It's all part and parcel of aging the characters up, and there's a reality to aging them up as well. If this show's going to go for 8 seasons, you can't start with a 15-year-old because you can't manage the passage of time.
Well, I'm curious to see, speaking of that, I'm curious to see what's going to happen with the Harry Potter series.
Oh, what is that? I heard that there's something happening with Harry Potter. I haven't read anything about it. They're doing a reboot or something?
So HBO Max are doing a TV series. They've already announced it's going to go for 10 seasons. So the first few years will be, like the first few books will be a season each as, you know, he goes up years. And then I think the last couple are going to be, you know, maybe split into 2 seasons.
Because money.
Yeah. But yeah, so they've already announced it's going to be 10 seasons. And before they've even started filming, they've already announced a spin-off as well. They're going to be doing, what are they calling it? The Founders, which is about, you know, the founders of
Godric
Hogwarts.
Gryffindor and
exactly, Slytherin.
Ravenclaw, etc.
Yeah. So I don't know how they're going to manage children with that, given that Harry Potter is 11 when he starts, and you can't age them up. That's the point of the story. Yeah. So I don't know how the fuck they're going to.
It worked with movies because
I mean, look at Stranger Things, perfect example. Where with season 5, we're now like a full. Or must be nearly 10 years since that show started, and look at Millie Bobby Brown from the first season to now. Yeah, like it's ridiculous.
Thankfully, all the boys are weird children men who have not aged at all, so that kind of works.
Yeah.
But look, what I'll say about Wheel of Time is, people out there who like this show are watching this show. People who are Nazis about the book, nothing's going to convince them. But if there are people who watched the show and kind of didn't quite get into it, they thought it was okay. Season 3 is a step up. They don't have that. They had massive issues with COVID. They had issues with one of the 4 main cast members leaving and not coming back mid-season, and they had to write around that. And then people complained, "Oh, why isn't that character here?" Well, fucking actor left, you dickhead. Yeah. He's been recast, and I think the new actor playing the role of Matt is much better. He's much closer to the book in terms of kind of tone and presence and everything. I think season 3 it's on par with the earlier seasons of Game of Thrones. Not Battle of the Bastards, Red Wedding, or anything.
The first season of Game of Thrones is fantastic.
But it's seriously good TV. One of the episodes in particular is one of the best episodes of TV I've seen in probably 10 years.
Since Lost?
It's not Lost level. Lost is above Game of Thrones. But it's if they can continue to be, if this is what they can do when they're not hampered by COVID and all the rest of it, it can only get better. I've got one episode that's just come out, which I haven't watched yet, but I'm up to date other than that. And this is now my must-watch show on TV.
Nice.
Which I love the first 2 seasons. I thought they were great, but they weren't my number one show of the moment.
While we're talking must-watch shows, have you been keeping up on this new season of The White Lotus?
I'm going to say no, because I didn't finish season 1.
Holy shit.
Everyone in that show annoyed me.
That's the point of the show, Dave.
But I don't enjoy that. You know that about
God.
me. I'm going to go back because enough people love it.
It's gotten better and better. I loved season 2. In fact, I still think season 2 is probably the strongest. But season 3 has been fun because I feel like this is the first season that it's like well, apart from you, it feels like the entire world is watching it now. You know, like I get on TikTok
I'm
because I'm
going
young
to-
and hip, and
Yeah, I'm not-
everyone is just throwing out their theories about
They're
what's
all-
going to happen in the finale, and they're all
Yeah.
doing the Parker Posey accent, Buddhism.
See, I don't like Parker Posey anymore. Not for many years.
She's great in it. Walton Goggins is
See,
fantastic.
I love Walton Goggins.
Amy Lou Wood is the best thing on TV at the moment.
That's a name that I don't know.
Oh man, she is exceptional. I am so in love with her. I don't care how big her teeth are. Who is
she?
Gorgeous. Oh my God, look her up, Dave. Look her up right now and bring up a photo for the listeners. Amy Lou Wood. You're gonna look at her and you're gonna say, "My God, those are big teeth." But when you see her in action, and she is so cute and charming. Yeah, I knew you'd say that.
I've seen her in something I recognize, and I can hear her voice in my head. Why do I know that? Who is she?
The character was actually written as an American, and when they cast her, they said, "I'm sorry, with your teeth, you cannot play an American." So they're letting her use her just genuine British accent. But she is
Sex Education.
Yeah, right. Yeah, she is a revelation. She's fan-fucking-tastic. I'm telling you. Even if the good thing about The White Lotus is an anthology. So if you weren't liking season 1, you can skip it. Just go watch season 2 and season 3.
Season 2's got Aubrey, doesn't it?
It does. It does. And
I'll watch that.
Yeah. I'll be curious to see
whether
whether
it's got Sydney Sweeney. Everything you like has Sydney Sweeney.
Sydney Sweeney's in season 1. Not the rest of them. Yeah.
I haven't seen Sydney Sweeney yet.
Yeah, she's the teenage daughter.
One of the two bimbos, and then you've got who's this
Steve Zahn and
Daddario, Alexandra Daddario.
Yes, Alexandra Daddario.
Yeah, okay. Yep, didn't like those scenes. I will return to it. I promise.
You're also going to mock me, but our go-to show at the moment is Matlock.
I want to see the new Matlock.
Oh man, it slaps. Like, it's cheesy as fuck. It feels like you're watching TV in the 90s again. It's a 24-episode season. Wow. It is so corny. It's so, case of the week type thing. There is a loose mythology that goes through the whole thing, but it's just so corny and cheesy. But it's kind of this bizarre thing because it's cheesy, but then you have, her as the lead actress who is so phenomenal. And
Kathy Bates.
Yeah. All right.
And if you're not watching season 3 of Reacher, fucking sort yourself out.
I'm not. I haven't seen any of Reacher.
Oh, God, come on. Wake up to yourself. Reacher fucking rules.
All right. The last film I'm going to talk about, brand new, just came out, I want to say last week. Locked is a 2025 American thriller film directed by David Yarovesky, starring Bill Skarsgård and Anthony Hopkins. It's an English-language remake of the Argentinian 2019 film 4x4, yes. And it is the best I've seen Bill Skarsgård. I liked this movie quite a bit. Liked, didn't love, but it is a really solid thriller. The idea is that Bill Skarsgård is this kind of scummy deadbeat dad. He's just a bit of a shit bloke, and he decides to steal a car. And unfortunately for him, the car that he decides to steal belongs to wealthy doctor Anthony Hopkins, who has decided to take it upon himself to become a bit of a vigilante after his wife and daughter were murdered by no good hoodlums. And so the car is booby-trapped. It's as soon as Skarsgård gets in the car, it's locked. He can't get out. He's trapped in there.
I've seen a trailer or something or read about it.
The car has all been kitted out by Anthony Hopkins so he can control it remotely. Talks to him through the car phone. He can,
like phone booth.
Yeah, he can do shit like turn the aircon up full ball so that he's freezing and, play yodeling music on a loop. He's trapped in the car for, God, I want to say it's 5-6 days. He starts to go completely out of his mind. It's a good, solid film. It's a really solid film. Anthony Hopkins is great in it. Bill Skarsgård is great in it. And for all intents and purposes, they are the only two actors in it, really.
So, wait a minute. Is the whole car a trap? Has he set the car up and placed it there, hoping someone would... This isn't his normal car that he's spent millions on just in case someone steals it.
No, he has set it up as a trap. He's parked it in the middle of the city in a shitty parking lot, completely unlocked. It is a trap. His whole purpose, intent, is to catch a shitty guy trying to steal it and torture him, basically.
So
and
he's
so,
he's crazy.
oh yes, he is crazy. Yes, he is not a good dude.
Because he's not trying to find a rapist or a murderer. He's
just trying to find any random dude.
Petty car thief.
That's right. That's
torture the shit
exactly
out of him.
right. Yes, and so it's a really solid flick. Like there's very little action in it. There's a couple of scenes where he remote control drives the car, makes it drive around the city mad fast and stuff like that. But apart from that, it's predominantly just Skarsgård trapped in this car in a shitty parking lot, having to drink his own piss and stuff because.
It's like his Ryan Reynolds in Buried. This is his locked room movie.
Yeah, I think it's sad. I mean, you hadn't heard of this movie. There's very little promotion for it. It's only showing in one cinema here.
Now that you talk, I don't know if I've seen a trailer or if I'd read about it. I feel like I've seen a trailer because I can envisage it.
Yeah,
but
right.
It's not recently. It would have been last year probably.
Right, yeah.
And I've heard nothing since, to the point where when you said Locked, I didn't put two and two together and know that that's the thing.
Right. I had heard nothing about it. I had some free time and I was stressed and I was like, you know what? I'm going to the movies and I don't care what it is. And I read the synopsis and I looked at the cast and I was like, okay, what the fuck is this? But yeah, solid movie. I reckon I'm a 7 out of 10 on it. I would absolutely recommend Locked. Like it's getting mixed reviews. Some people obviously don't like it as much as I do, but yeah, solid flick, heaps of fun.
Oh, check it out.
So
I actually like Bill Skarsgård, so I'll probably like it even more than you.
I mean, you didn't like him in The Crow, surely?
No, because nothing about that movie was good, but I like him as Pennywise, and I like Nosferatu more than you did, and I mean, I didn't like Boy Meets World because it was a bucket of ass gravy, but so I'm 2 out of 4 for Bill Skarsgård.
Nice. Well, there we go. Do you have anything else you want to touch on?
There probably is, but I'm so scarred by Minecraft, I can't actually think of anything off the top of my head. But next week, unicorns galore.
Yes, next week we'll be getting to Death of a Unicorn, which from memory was that your number 1 most anticipated, or was it your number 2?
It was in my top 3. I know Monkey was top.
Yes.
Whether it or The Gorge were number 2 or 3, but they were my top 3, by a clear margin.
Yeah. All right, cool. Well, I think that's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to chatting about that one because we will, of course, be back next week. We are back in the saddle. We're not missing another week.
Never
and if you want to get in touch with us, you can do that at pottymouthradio.com. You can go join the Facebook listener community group, which is linked in the show notes. And yeah, we'll catch you next week with Death of a Unicorn.
We will indeed. See you then.